for another amazing episode. On today's episode, we are going to be doing part 3 of Triunfo del Amor. So I'm musing about the series, the telenovela. If you have watched it before, tell me in the comment section what you thought about it when you are watching it the first time. And now, if you want, as I told you before, go and watch it on YouTube right now because it's playing on Novelas Kingdom, and come and tell me if you agree with me or not, because I'm telling you, this is not a review show. I'm supposed to be giving my muses, but that's what I'm doing with this show as well, because I'm talking about the characters and just breaking them down and telling you what they did and what that made me feel, because these telenovelas, they were being written, and I know telenovelas are supposed to be dramatic and all of those things, but this one was prolonged for such a long time. And most of the things that were being shown over and over again were just repetitions. So that's why it became from, like, instead of just having 100 episodes, which would have made sense, it went up to 170 something, 72 or 71, depending on where you're checking. On YouTube, it's 172. On Google, it shows that it has 171 episodes. So go and watch for yourselves and then tell me if you'll agree with what I'm saying or not. So I'm just giving you a breakdown. I watched it as a kid. Well, I wasn't such a kid because I was almost 21 when it came out, but mentally, honestly, yeah, still a kid. And now I watch it again in my 30s, and I did not feel the emotions that I felt when I was a kid. I did not. I was looking at it and I was like, what the hell? What is this? What am I watching? No moment made me feel like crying. Anyway, I'm going to go straight to musing about the people that I'm supposed to be musing about today. That is Victoria Gutierrez, who plays Victoria, and Osvaldo Rios, who plays Osvaldo Sandoval, and Victoria's friends, including Cesar Evora, who plays Heriberto Rios. That is Dr. Heriberto Rios. So let's get to them because I want to do this very quickly and finish it fast. So Victoria, I've already told you a part of her story in last Saturday's episode, where she was working at the Itubire mansion as a maid, and then she got pregnant by the lovely priest Juan Pablo Iturbide. But by then he wasn't yet ordained as a priest. He had just come home after being in the seminary and he was supposed to go back. So they slept together. She got pregnant, and after that, she ended up pregnant. A lot of things happened to her, as I told you in the previous episode. She ended up working in Rodolfo Padilla's company, and he took advantage of her after she gave birth. Then she ran away with her best friend Antonietta, and they went and started their own fashion house because she was a good seamstress. She was good at creating and designing and everything, and they started it slow until she met her husband Osvaldo Sandoval. They got married, and because of Osvaldo's connections, because he was an actor, a well-known actor, he brought in the clients, and House of Victoria grew to be the big beautiful House of Victoria that we met now at when we move forward. So yeah, Casa Victoria. So she was working there, but she was also very pained because of everything that was going on in her life. She had lost her child, as I told you on last Saturday's episode. Bernarda had caused her to have an accident. When she woke up, she didn't have a child anymore, and she lost the child. She tried to look for her little Maria, but all she was left with was her little toy and some other things that belonged to Maria. So she had looked for Maria, and that business she had created it just to look for her child. But then with Osvaldo, Osvaldo had a son, so she adopted Maximiliano, that is Osvaldo's son, with his former wife, and they also had another child, a girl, that is Fernanda, who was very spoiled at the beginning, especially. Anyway, so they're living their life, but she's always finding reasons not to spend time with Osvaldo. She's always so busy at her company, and Osvaldo is a man, and Mexican men, they are macho. They need their woman's attention. They have to be surrounded by their women 24/7. Whenever they need their women are supposed to be like, there, yes, papi, I'm here. Do whatever you want to do. So she could never just be like, no. But then all of them were keeping secrets. That was the most annoying thing about that family of theirs. They liked secrets, and this is why people loved Bernarda more. Even though she was the villain, she always told the truth. But Victoria was hiding the fact that she had gotten pregnant before. And she didn't tell that to Osvaldo when they met, which is something that I think you should do, like while you're dating. Say I got pregnant a while back. I don't talk about my child's father because he's no longer a part of my life. But then I lost my child in this and this, so it was a freak accident. I woke up in the hospital. My child was no longer with me. Simple. That man would understand and he would move on. He would even help you look for that kid. She had kept that as a secret because she did not want her husband to think of her like she was loose or something. I don't know. This man came to you with a child from a previous marriage as well, and you helped raise that child. What were you trying to avoid, honestly? Like Victoria used to annoy me. She kept so many secrets from Osvaldo. And of course, because of that, Osvaldo started pulling away. I'm not trying to justify like cheating, but Osvaldo started cheating with this beautiful babe called Linda, played by Dorisma. Linda was beautiful and she was funny, and she she looked for Osvaldo every chance she got. She was like on Jonasi. She was, what was Marty or something. The lady, Jonas's third wife, that one. The way she was pushing herself towards Jonasi at the beginning, that was Linda. She pursued Osvaldo until Osvaldo gave in. And so when Victoria found out that her husband had cheated on her, it became bad. At this time, she had found out that Linda was friends with Maria de Semparada, and she said a lot of bad things to Maria. Like she treated Maria so badly through this entire series that I do not understand why the writers made Maria forgive her at the end. She shouldn't have forgiven her. It should have been one of those ones like, okay, I forgive you, but I'm moving on. You don't have to be like my mom. We don't have to have like a mother-daughter thing. It's okay. I forgive you, but that's fine. But because everything that woman did, if there was anybody out there who that had happened to them in real life, I don't think they would have forgiven because Victoria became bad. Everything that she was blaming Bernarda for, everything that Bernarda had done to her, she did to Maria de Samparada, her own daughter, even though she didn't know that it was her daughter. Like, I've been mistreated in my life, and that has made me very, very aware of the things that are surrounding me and people and whatever. So if I find myself in a situation that has happened to me before, and I'm the one who's now the bigger person in that situation, like I'm the one who's like in charge or whatever, I would never put the other people through that. I would never. Like I remember my uncle slapped me for no reason. He used to beat me up for no reason when I was a kid. I've never done that to his kids. And it was something that I promised myself that I would never do to them. Because I did not want to carry their sins, his sins towards me, like forward. I didn't want to do that. So I made myself a promise. Once they were born, once they carried them in my arms, I was like, I will never hit you the same way your dad did. I didn't say it out loud. I said it in my head because I don't want the kids to be like, even if they can't understand. But it's a promise I made. I made to myself. And not just my uncles, my aunts, everything they did, they said, I've never done any of those things to their kids ever. No matter what their parents did, I never forwarded it to their children. And that is just something that you do. But Victoria, she made Maria de Samparada's life a living hell. Any chance she got, she slapped her, she talked down on her, she called her names because of her frustration. And she always cried at the end of it, saying that all of that frustration is because she lost her child. And the fact that your child, you lost a child who's called Maria, but then there's this girl who was raised in an orphanage whose name is also Maria. And not once did Victoria think like, oh, maybe it's this girl. Maybe it's this Maria. Can I investigate? Never. And I know if she would have done that, they should have ended early. Yes, we should have been much better. But no, because they wanted to prolong it, they kept coming up with excuses and excuses for them not to find out that they were mother and daughter. And that just annoyed the hell out of me. And if you think that her relationship with the daughter that she had actually raised was good, no. With Fernanda and Victoria did not see eye to eye. Because Victoria never had time to raise Fernanda. She was a daddy's girl all through and through. Anyway, she finds out that Osvaldo was having an affair. She requests for a divorce. They get divorced, but then they're still living in the same house because it's both their houses, and the kids who are not kids, Maximiliano and Fernanda, they are grown up. Fernanda was even married, but she was still crying for, Daddy and Mommy, can you please continue living with each other? And I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, well, no. So, anyway, Later on, she gets sick. She gets cancer because, again, they're prolonging the story. And then she does not tell her family because her daughter had gotten into an accident, and now she wanted to be there for her daughter who was undergoing surgeries. And yeah, she kept holding it back. She fainted. Oh, I don't know. She was rushed to the hospital, had her first surgery, went in for another surgery, not telling the family. Everybody was finding out about her illness, the real one, like a puzzle piece. So today Antonietta is the one who knows everything because she's the one who took her to the hospital. The next time it's Maximiliano who finds out. The next time it's Osvaldo who finds out. And whenever she needed Osvaldo, Osvaldo was also always there. But she was just like, I can never forgive you because of what you did to me with Linda. You cheated on me. I can never forgive you for that. And then eventually she goes like, oh, I forgive you, but I can never take you back because, yeah, I can't see past that. Then she miraculously healed from her cancer because she underwent chemotherapy, but it was the good kind that did not take her hair, not even one. Hey, yo, telenovela. Anyway, after that, later on, she finds out that Maria de Samparada is her daughter. And then she finds out, like, well, she was insulting her, calling her a little slut and everything. And then she finds out that that is her daughter. She goes like, no, 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 no. Then she starts apologizing. And even her apologies were like, I'm sorry for treating you the way I treated you. I did not know that you are my daughter. Well, bitch, that is not an apology. You shouldn't be treating me, anybody, in that way. It does not matter that they're your daughter or not. You shouldn't be treating anybody in the way that you treated Maria de Samparada. But yeah, I'm sorry I didn't know that you are my daughter. Maria, of course, she cries. They're both crying, and Maria tells her no. Then Victoria goes away saying that Maria is very bad and she has a very tough heart or whatever because she refuses to forgive her immediately and refuses to accept her as her mom. There's this point even where she comes and tells Maria, like, you know what, I'm not going to force you to love me anymore. It's okay. If you don't want me, it's fine. And I'm like, bitch. Okay. Yo, you are supposed to be crawling and begging. But yeah, because you're so entitled. So anyway, she goes, they get kidnapped by Bernarda Iturbide, who uses Guillermo to kidnap them because that was the only friend that she was remaining with at the time. And Guillermo set up a camera and everything to videotape everything. And then later on, she's released because Maximiliano and the dad and everybody else bargained for her mom to be released, but not Maria. Anyway, she's there, she's telling Maria the stories about how she lost her as a kid, blah blah blah, how she loved her and everything. Maria is still cold-hearted. She's like, I'm not forgiving you. After they survive the kidnapping, later on she chooses to leave the company to the kids. Like, she gives them work at the company, that is Fernanda and Maria, because Maximilian was already working there. So they create this new line, the one that they had during the last fashion show. And then Maria, because she was getting sick at that moment, she faints and they rush to the hospital. And while she's there, I'll talk about that story when I get to Maria's part. She finds out that her kidney is failing. And so this lady, she had breast cancer, Victoria, but she ended up donating one of her kidneys. I had to look it up if it was okay for a cancer survivor to donate. And it was like 1 to 5 years. Within that time of the show, 5 years are not gone by. Even 1 year had not gone by because this baby that Maria de Samparada had given birth to had not celebrated his first birthday. So she was not eligible to donate the kidney. But the doctor who came later and became everyone's doctor, he approved it and they did that. And because of that sacrifice, Maria de Samparada felt so very, oh my God, that's my mom. And she forgave her because she sacrificed herself. I beg. Where? So she ends up telling Osvaldo that she has forgiven him, that is Victoria, but she does not want to get back together with him because by this point she was already kissing Dr. Heriberto every chance they got. They looked like little kids kissing on the hospital corridors and in rooms, and everybody who was watching that show was like, what are we seeing? It was so It was bad. It was just so bad. Like, we didn't mind when Osvaldo and Vicky were kissing. That was good. But then this Heriberto, and I think he was only added to the show to boost up like viewership, because I think by that time the viewership was dwindling, because they had so many extra episodes that were not needed. And Osvaldo Rios was having problems with the production team or something. He was having problems, so they chose to bring Heriberto into the show. So, yeah, they ended up together. Like, everybody was fighting for her. Even Father Juan Pablo kept telling Maria de Sampaio to forgive her. Bernarda was her medication, but she was also going, like, Victoria was going toe to toe with Bernarda. Whatever Bernarda could do, Victoria could do as well. But it's just that after everything she did to Maria de Desamparada, unprovoked most of the time, she did not, like, that forgiving thing, it was just so quick. I just wanted Maria to forgive her, but not want her as part of her life or whatever. And everybody feeling sorry for Victoria, but never feeling sorry for Maria. Like, people were always excusing Victoria's shenanigans, especially Antonietta, her best friend, Pipino, who was working for her, Oscar. Everybody felt like Victoria was an angel, and everybody else was being, even like being bad to her. Even when she was literally looking down on Maria, making her life miserable, Oscar was used to go and be the one to make sure that Maria wasn't given a job. Antonietta, who had known that, okay, there's this entire part where Victoria met this other girl called Maria. She thought that was her daughter, only for Banana to come and tell her, oh, did you do a DNA test? And Victoria was like, no, there's no DNA test needed. This is my daughter. And I was like, how daft can you be? How daft can you be? Like, you have to do a DNA test. But she was like, no, I don't. I don't have to. I feel it in my heart that this is my daughter. You feel it in your heart that that is your daughter, and you're around your daughter every day and you're harassing her, and you've never felt like she's your daughter. Every time she prayed to God, give me my daughter, Maria would show up. Whether it was in church, Maria would come in. Whether it was at the company, Maria would walk in. Whenever she prayed for her daughter, Maria would walk in. They would be in the same room. And Victoria it never clicked in her mind that this is God answering my prayers. And Father Juan Pablo kept telling her that, God is answering your prayers every time you pray. You are the one who does not want to open your eyes and your heart to that. And again, she did not think that, oh my God, maybe it's Maria de Samparada. Antonietta had known at that part with the other Maria, when they found out that she was not the real Maria. She had said, well, we were two Marias. Both of us were picked around the same time from the streets. Antonietta never mentioned that ever again. That information just disappeared from the show. Hey, this show should have ended with 100 episodes or even less. They overdid it for no reason. But yeah, that is Victoria. She ended up happy with all her children. They were all safe, they were all happy, and she was with Heriberto. Osvaldo, on the other hand, Osvaldo begins the way that Livia Brito was introduced. I'm not sure if I should talk about it here or I talk about it later. I'll talk about it during Livia Brito's. But Osvaldo will start from the beginning. He was the best dad. And again, I'm not going to excuse his cheating, because a cheater is a cheater. He cheated on his wife, but because he kept begging Victoria for her attention, and Victoria could just not be bothered, because she had other important issues always. And they always kept secrets in this show, in this family, as I said. But anyway, he meets Linda, they start having their affair, but then he breaks it up before Victoria finds out. Then Victoria finds out because Osvaldo has this friend Guillermo, who's not really a friend. Everybody who was surrounding Osvaldo was a snake. They were a wolf in sheep's clothing. All of them, from Guillermo to that other woman that Guillermo killed, to even Victoria. Like, he was surrounded by just terrible people, and they were always trying to harm him. So anyway, after Victoria decides that they're going to get a divorce, he does that. But then they just don't give this man any more like strong characters. All of the time, he will be in a room, and then Maximiliano will be coming from downstairs and leaving the house. And then Osvaldo will come from the study and he go there like, He wouldn't even voice it. He will be thinking about it in his mind. And he'll be like, I wonder where Maximiliano is going. I wonder where Max is going. And then And then he will just follow him. And then again, it will be Victoria leaving, and he'll be like, oh, I wonder where Victoria is going. He will just follow. Like, they ended up not using him as much as they should have. And he was an amazing actor, like an actor playing an actor in the show. And Guillermo tried to kill him so many different times. Yo, there's this part where Max's biological mom, when she came back, Leonela Montenegro, she shot him. And he ended up in the hospital. Again, did not die. The number of times that this man survived the death attempts, it was something else. But we really enjoyed the show anyway. Osvaldo was good. I liked him, and I liked the way he took charge of his family and his children. He was always fighting for them, at least until this one point where Maximiliano was in the hospital. I'll talk about it next week when I'll be talking about Max. And he goes there, and he was supposed to be given this trial medication, and he was like, no, Max is very strong. He's a young man. He can fight that disease off because he takes care of himself and he exercises. And the doctor listened. Okay, he was his child, yes, but he was a grown man. But then Osvaldo said that, and that was listened to. And he kept behaving as if, like, that macho-ness that he had sometimes annoyed me sometimes. But I loved the character Osvaldo Sandoval. And I loved, it just felt like he was not being used as much as he was supposed to be. But his relationship with Maximiliano, I loved. His relationship with his daughter, Fernanda, I loved. And when he found out about Maria and Maximiliano, even when he first met Maria, he was such a nice guy to him. He loved Maria from the beginning. Never showed any behavior that Victoria showed towards Maria. Like, he was such a gentleman with her. He was so loving. He was so careful with her and everything. Like, it was just beautiful to watch. But then at the end, after so many deaths, there's this entire thing with his theater that they bought with Guillermo, but Guillermo faked the I don't know what and made the theater to be his. Like, that theater story was also so prolonged that it didn't make any sense. I was like, really? You signed documents. You didn't read them because you had given your power of attorney to your friend. He was stealing from you. And then you find out that he was stealing from you. You fight, blah, blah, blah. And then you go and report it. It's not yours yet because it's still in court, but he can still continue working from there because it keeps giving the injunctions, or what are they called, over and over again. You wait for the day that he's supposed to be opening his show, and then you call the cops and they go and they stop the thing. And then again, it was hectic. And then at the end, he did not get Victoria. He kept forcing himself on Victoria. Like, not forcing, but he kept wanting Victoria back. And I kept going like, just leave her the fuck alone. She has said so many times she does not want you back. She pulls you in and then she lets you go. Pulls you in and then she lets you go. Cries, oh, Osvaldo, I need you. And then when you're there, she just uses you. And then later on, she goes like, no, I still don't want you. I can't forgive you. Everything you've done, I can never forgive you. Every time I see you, I just see that woman. And then he had also kept the secret that Leonela Montenegro was alive, because according to the story is that they were married, but Leonela started having affairs. They were fighting all the time, and then Leonela killed her lover. So after that, they were in a foreign country. She was arrested there and sent to prison. So she gave birth to Maxwell in prison. Osvaldo tried to do everything he could to get her released, but they couldn't. And then so he took Maximiliano, went back to Mexico, and raised them. When he later met Victoria, they got married, and that was it. But they had officially divorced with Leonela. So he just kept that as a secret as well. He kept telling everybody that Leonela had died a long time ago. And I'm like, yes, she was sentenced to a long time in prison, but there is going to be a time when she'll come back. What are you going to tell people? And the only person he had confessed to again was Father Juan Pablo. And I was like, the people in this show, man, why do you keep lying about everything? Things that shouldn't even be bad. You meet a woman, hi, my name is so and so. I have a son. Oh yeah, where's his mom? Oh, she's arrested because she killed her lover. Simple. Are you still married? No, we got divorced. And she's serving a sentence in this country. but you're no longer together. Oh, good, good. And you move on. Why was that so hard? Why? These people just try to make things so tough. But then anyway, he ended up leaving for Spain. And then after he realized that Victoria wasn't going to come back to him, so he moved to Spain to continue his acting career. And that was the end we saw of Osvaldo. I think even during Max's wedding, he did not show up. I think he was fired from the show by this time. I don't know. But he did not show up for Max's and Maria's wedding. But we heard his voice. He spoke to Max on the phone, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that was Victoria Sandoval and Osvaldo Sandoval and their breakdown and the things that I thought as an adult. I was looking at this and I was like, what the hell is going on? Victoria kept crying. Like the number of times she cried in this show. Some of them was just like, why are you crying? It's not even that serious. This thing that you're crying about, you could have solved it 10 episodes ago. Or even now, just look the other side. Your daughter, there she is. On the other side of the church, she's there. She's crying there as well. Like, yo. But the person who cried the most was Victoria in this show, followed by Maria de Samparada. And then Max a little bit. But yeah, it was annoying at most. But yeah, I'm going to leave it at this. Today's episode, the two people. And yeah, next week, come back next week if you still want me to do this. And I'll be talking about Maite Peroni as Maria de Samparada, William Levy as Maximiliano Sandoval, and Livia Brito. Now I'm getting to the kids, right? And then maybe if we do a good job next week. Oh, and also Dominica Paletta as Jimena de Alba. And if we do a good job next week, maybe I can talk about them quickly. But their stories, they're the main cast as well. So I don't know. But I'm thinking I finish by next Saturday or next Saturday but one. Where I can just wrap up about talking about the other cast members. But yeah, I think part 4 and 5 are going to be it for me. Because yeah, I don't want it to be a long thing. So yeah, go and watch it. It's on YouTube, Novelas Kingdom. Go and watch Triunfo del Amor and tell me if you agree with what I'm saying or not. If you felt like that it was too long. If you just felt like Victoria's crying was pathetic. If you thought her as a human being when on that show, she was being a terrible human being. Yeah, tell me as well in the comment section down below. Remember that I'm still cooking and I'm still baking. If you want me to cook, to have a meal plan for you and also cook for you food for the whole week, DM me on my Instagram and on my TikTok, Mimi's Musings podcast. And remember to please come here and please like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so that whenever I upload something new, you're going to be amongst the first people to come and watch.